It's the game of life. Experience all of the things you actually experience in real life. Make your way through all of life's stages, such as going to school. I'm $200,000 in debt? Not using your degree. I'm popular on OnlyFans and having setbacks. I got canceled and now I have to start over in my career? Invest carefully so you can retire. Can't afford to retire? Keep working until you can, or have your children help take care of you when you are physically and mentally unable to continue working. Then you could feel bad when an AI influencer who doesn't even exist makes more money than you. Try the game of life today. Today, we're going to be looking at the board game of life. Is it accurate to real life, or does it need to be changed? Let's find out. So this is a slightly updated version of the game. I noticed they have made a few changes since the older version, but most of it I feel like is still pretty out of date. Like for starters, could we just take a second and talk about the object of the game? The object is to get to retirement, and whoever has the most money wins. This game is for 8 and up. I mean, what kind of message is that for the children? That it's all about money and nothing else matters? I think this needs to change. I mean, should it be more about being happy? I mean, don't get me wrong, I think that having money up to a certain amount will increase your happiness, but I think there's a lot of studies that show that after a certain point, it doesn't really make that much of a difference how much money you make. So in this version of the game, I'm gonna make a new rule. When you get to retirement, whoever has the most happy points wins. So for example, in the game, there's all these different action cards. And they all say different things like start a cricket farm, insects are the protein of the future, pay $30,000 to the bank. This has to change. So I think, for example, play mini golf, 4 happy points, go to Coachella, 10 happy points, visit an aquarium, 6 happy points. You get the point. Now, the amount of money that you need in order to retire is definitely going to vary depending on several factors, the city that you live in, the lifestyle you want to live, that kind of thing. But for the purpose of this game, I think we're just going to say you need $2 million in order to retire. Now, at the very beginning of the game, you have to make your first decision. You have to either start the college route or you just start the career route. Now, in the game, if you start in college, you only have to take out a $50,000 loan. Now that might be possible, if you have a decent amount of scholarship money or student aid, or maybe if you're living with your parents and you want to go to a local school. But in the case of this game, I feel like this is just way too inexpensive. I'm gonna make college $200,000. Now, one of the big differences between this version of the game and the old one is they've definitely expanded the list of careers you can have. But the problem is I think the salaries are way off. So I went ahead and I did a Google search to find the average salary for all of these professions, and I updated it with some little sticky notes here. So like, for example, they have fashion designer, which they said makes $40,000. I ran on Google, averaged about $80,000. Engineer, they said $80,000. I updated it to $100,000. You get the point. Some of the new careers that you can choose from are social media influencer and vlogger to keep things real up to date. I feel like those are, technically different. I feel like those are a bit too similar, so I changed social media influencer to Uber driver. But then here's the thing, like some of these professions, I feel like the salary has such a wild range that you can't just assign one number to it. Like they have actor in here, which they claim makes $40,000 a year, which might be true for some actors, and there's some actors that make $1 million a year, $10 million a year. So in order to fix this, I feel like we need to spin in order to figure out how much money you make. So for example, red is going to be somewhere between $10,000 and $100,000, whereas if you get black, your salary will be somewhere between $1 million and $10 million. And then you can just spin again to figure out where on that scale you're gonna land. And one of my favorite parts of this game is the midlife spin out, where basically your life goes in two directions. Either life's going really well and you go one way, or it's going terrible and you go another way. At the midlife spin out, if you are a certain profession, so like in this case, if you're the vlogger profession, that means when you reach that point, you get canceled or you're just not relevant anymore, and now you have to choose a new career. Or if you have the athlete profession, I feel like that also needs to end early, but I don't think you can wait until the midlife. I feel like it should stop sooner. Like maybe at the grow your family part, you have to give up your athlete job and find a new job. And this also applies to the model profession. I also added an OnlyFans job that you can have. That also, I feel like, should stop at a certain point. So the other thing that I didn't really feel like was that accurate was the price of homes. The price of a house is definitely going to vary depending on where you live. Now, I live in Los Angeles, so I just based all of the prices based on what it would cost in Los Angeles, which is quite a bit. So like perfect example, you have the suburban home, which they said costs $160,000. I relabeled that to $1 million. And there's also the dream villa, which they said is $300,000. I feel like it's probably closer to $3 million. And the other aspect of this game is investing. So throughout the game, you can make additional money. And they have all these categories, some of them which make sense. So like they have gold, tech startups, own your own business. But some of them I feel didn't really make like a lot of sense. They have ice cream. I don't know, unless you're buying an ice cream truck, you don't really invest in ice cream, not that I know of. Or they also have a car company, which again, unless you're the owner of the car company, it's not really something that the average person invests in. So I'm gonna make some changes. Like I think, for example, you should definitely be able to invest in startups. Then in REIT, you can invest in stocks, CDs, certificate of deposits, not the music, private lending, savings, art, crypto, your friend's mixtape, and we'll keep gold. Now, some of these investments are way riskier than others. So for example, if you want to invest in the friend's mixtape, I feel like you need to spin a 7 or higher in order to get a return on your investment. If you spin that high, you can get 3x the amount that you invested. But then other investments are low risk, so they should also be lower reward. So for example, the certificate of deposits, spin 3 or more just to get 10K. Now, the one thing I know about life is it is not all smooth sailing. There's gonna be a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and I feel like a big part of this game that is missing are the downs. So I've added these little mystery cards that I'm gonna kind of sprinkle throughout the board. So for example, we have throw out your back, skip a turn. I feel like that should definitely happen like as soon as you hit 30. So we're gonna put that around here. We have inflation, only collect 80% of your salary. Climate change, sell your home at a loss. Layoffs, choose a new job. Your job has been replaced by AI. Choose a new profession. Get divorced, lose half of your money. Get sick, pay $20,000 in medical bills. I feel like this one should start at the beginning of the game. It's can't get a job without experience, can't get experience without a job. Pay $20,000. Get canceled, go back 5 spaces, can't collect any pay. Car is totaled, pay $30,000 for a new car. You get the idea. Now, another big part of this game is growing your family. There's various parts in the board where you can get a friend, a pet, have kids, get married. Now, in this version of the game, you have to spend $50,000 if you want to grow your family, which I feel is definitely not accurate. I think if you're gonna raise a kid to about 18 or so, it's probably closer to at least $200,000. So I think if you wanna have a kid, you have to spend that much money. And of course, you're gonna get happy points because they are your little bundle of joy. But having a kid does suck your time and your energy, and it's harder to do fun things. So whenever you land on one of these yellow rectangles and you wanna get happy points from an activity, I feel like you need to spin. And if it lands on red, you don't get to do it. If it's black, then you get to participate. So those are all the changes that I've made so far. I think we're definitely making some progress in making this game more realistic. I actually think the game is more challenging and more fun this way. If you want to see more videos about life and adulting, click on the video on the screen, and I'll see you in the next one.